everyone, and welcome to this second week on environmental economics. Let's start with a question that you probably haven't been asked before. What would it take for you to change your mind about climate change? Would it be a scientific discovery, a trusted expert, a personal experience, or nothing at all? We spend a lot of effort trying to convince people about climate change, but let's think about the reverse question. What would make people reconsider their beliefs? Today is on our menu, the paper titled A Thematic Analysis of What Australians State Would Change Their Minds on Climate Change, published on Scientific Reports in 2025. Here, the researchers used a novel combination of psychology and AI to explore how different groups think about climate change and what, if anything, could shift their views. Now, why this question matters? Because climate options aren't fixed. In longitudinal data, nearly half of Australians changed their opinions at least once in 5 years. Yet, most studies test what works to persuade people, not what they themselves believe could change their mind. So understanding this aspect can reveal where information provision is possible and effective and where it's not. Now, let's dive into the study design overview. Here is fascinating because the authors combine two powerful tools. First, the audience segmentation using the so-called 6 Americas short survey, and this is to classify climate beliefs. Second, AI-assisted thematic analysis, where ChatGPT helps coding thousands of open answers. This is fascinating because it's behavioral science meeting machine learning, a hybrid that allows nuanced qualitative insights at scale. The dataset here includes almost 5,000 Australians, representative by region, age, and gender. And through the 6 Americas short survey, participants were classified into 6 segments that are the alarmed, those deeply concerned about climate change and highly engaged. Concerned, they believe climate change is real but less active. Cautious, uncertain about causes or urgency. Those disengaged, that are those rarely thinking about this issue, those doubtful, so skeptical of human causes, and those dismissive, that are those that strongly deny human-caused climate change. Then we have this survey where there is this key open question, that is, what, if anything, would change your current opinion about climate change? And the researchers collected thousands of free text answers that form the basis for the thematic analysis. And here is where ChatGPT was used, because manually coding 5,000 open-ended responses would take weeks, maybe years. Instead, the researchers used OpenAI ChatGPT to classify those answers into main themes. They first hand-coded a subset to train and calibrate ChatGPT, and then ChatGPT processed the rest, labeling each response under main themes. What are these main themes? Nothing. So nothing could change my mind. Evidence and information. More scientific proof could change my mind. Trusted sources. I could change my mind if a scientist, for example, scientists that I trust said otherwise. Action or experience. I could change my mind if I saw changes myself, my experience. And then unsure. I do not know what could change my mind. Okay. Now, ChatGPT performance was compared also against human coding and reached a near human reliability. That's fascinating and also very interesting. So it's just quite like a human. After coding, the authors examined how teams varied across our 6 segments. And what they found? That dogmatism is at the extremes. So both those alarmed and dismissed were much more likely to say nothing could change my mind. And openness is instead in the middle. So cautious, concerned, and disengaged groups mentioned that evidence, trusted sources, or first-hand experience could change their mind. Trust instead matters for everyone. So even skeptics said that credible messengers like community leaders or scientists that they trust could make a difference. Now, these effects were statistically confirmed through multinomial logic models. But what are the results, again, in a nutshell? What we call a U-shaped pattern. So the relationship between belief strength and openness to change minds form a U-shape pattern. At one end, we have the dismissive that deny climate change and see no reason to reconsider it. At the other end, we have the alarmed that are instead at the opposite, no? Because they are fully convinced about climate change, but equally immovable as the dismissive. So we are at the extreme. But in between lie the cautious and concerned, whose beliefs are less deeply rooted, and so they are more responsive to new information and more prone to change their minds. So, openness peaks in the middle and drops at both extremes. In behavioral economic terms, this U-shaped curve shows that the cognitive rigidity grows as conviction strengthens. Now, what are the main implications and broader lessons? We have 3 main takeaways. Extremes are symmetric, so any extreme predict rigidity, resistance to change mind. Second, information provision should focus not really at the extremes because they are immovable, but they should focus on the movable middle. So tailoring messages to those groups that say they need credible evidence, trusted voices to change their mind. Third takeaway, the fascinating methodology here. So AI tools like ChatGPT can transform qualitative research, help social scientists, enabling real-time thematic insights across massive data sets. Some closing reflections. So think, what could change your mind about climate change? This study is about our beliefs and suggests that people at the extremes rarely move, rarely change idea, but those in the middle still can change their ideas. So reaching them might be the key to real change. But believing and our beliefs are only the first step. The real question is, once we believe, do we actually do that, act? And this is our question for the next week. So stay connected.